Welcome back to Ocala Talks. On a Thursday, City Council met 2 nights ago. They voted on a millage rate of 6.6177. That is the same as the current year's millage. This is the same thing the county was facing earlier this month when Kathy Bryant came in to talk about how she supported a rollback of the millage, because if you roll the millage back because property values have went up, you can roll the millage rate back and still get the same revenue as you took in the year before. And if the city rolled the millage rate back, they could roll it back to 6.3941 or 3.5% back, and they'd make the same as revenue as they made last year. With this revenue, they're going to make 3.5% more than they made last year, but keep the rate the same. So somebody goes, well, I'm paying more taxes, but your taxes didn't get raised. The millage rate stayed the same. Your property value increased, therefore you have to pay more because your property value increased. You got more, so you have to pay more. Well, that sounds like a tax increase. No, the millage rate stayed exactly the same. The tax rate did not increase. The value of your home did, so then the money you have to pay at that millage rate increased because the value of your home increased. It's not the same as a tax hike. It is the tax rate stayed exactly the same. You just have the advantage of it, the market being in great shape right now, and your house being worth more. As in 2009, 2010, when we bottomed out, houses dropped, the bottom fell out on houses, you paid less in taxes because your house was worth less. So that's how this works. They didn't increase taxes with this vote at City Hall, but they will take in more tax revenue because the price of homes the value of homes are more. They also voted, that was a 4-0 vote, by the way, to adopt that millage rate, which is the same as the millage rate that was already adopted. That same 4-0 vote approved the 2021-22 budget for the city. And in another vote, council unanimously certified last week's election results. As you remember, last week, Mayor Gwynn was reelected for 2 more years. District 1 saw incumbent Brent Molliver lose to Barry Mansfield in Barry Mansfield's first attempt at running for council. District 3 is in a runoff between Jay Musley, the incumbent, and Ty Schlichter. District 5 saw former councilman Jim Hilty gain his seat back on council after a 4-year absence as he beat Greg Steen for District 4. And, of course, there's going to be a runoff between Lori Martin Gregory and Christian Dreyer. Those runoff races are slated for November 16th. I know people usually don't go out and vote in these runoffs. Go out and vote. Don't let 2,000 people decide who wins these runoff elections. 2,000, 2,500 people. Don't let that happen. Go out and vote. The 3 charter amendments, the concerning scheduling of special elections or runoff elections, beginning and end terms of the city council members and mayor, and revising masculine pronouns to include the feminine equivalent, those were all approved by voters as well and certified by the city council on Tuesday in a 4-0 vote to certify all the week's election results. So, but for those of you that are crying foul that they raised my taxes, they did not raise your taxes. But I'm paying more, but you didn't get your taxes raised. The tax rate stayed the same. Your house is worth more. Your home, your property is worth more. Therefore, the amount you pay is more. But it's the same tax rate. Could they have rolled it back? They could have rolled it back 3.5% and made the same amount of money they made this year. But by not rolling it back, there's more revenue coming into the city, and that can be used to do things like keeping the best of our best here. We've talked about how the county's competitive, but the city needs to be even more competitive to keep first responders and to keep police here. We don't need to be the training ground for other municipalities and other counties. And so even though they didn't raise your taxes, they will have more money to work with now through this millage rate because home values went up. And I know nobody wants to pay more. You want to pay the same thing you were paying. But we're growing, we're expanding. We're going to have more officers. We're going to have more first responders. We're going to have things like more ambulances, more police cars. We're going to have those things as you progress. As more people move into the area, you have to increase first responders and police officers to keep up with the growing demand of a place that's getting more and more people. The census says by 2035 in the Marion County metro area, which is all of Marion County, it includes a piece of the Villages, which is in Marion County, and the Villages area, they lump it in. They say in that area there'll be 500,000 people here by 2035. 500,000 people. Let me put that in perspective for you. The 11th most populated city in the United States has 1.13 million people. So a little over twice as many as will be here in 2035. So this area will have about half as many people as the 11th most populated city in America has by 2035. What is that city? Jacksonville, Florida. So by 2035, the Marion County area will have half as many people as the entire city of Jacksonville has. You're going to need more first responders. You're going to need more police. You're going to need more facilities. You're going to need more equipment. And so when the housing prices rebounded, leaving the millage rate the same, yes, brought more money into the coffers of the city. That they now, if this city council uses them properly, can be used to help as Marion County and Ocala prepares for the influx of people that we see on a weekly basis that come into our area. Progress isn't going to stop, folks. You're not going to will progress away by saying, I hope it doesn't happen. People are moving here in large numbers, and because of that, you're going to have to increase the number of ambulances on the road, the number of fire trucks, the number of police cars. You got to have people to man all that equipment. New facilities. All those will be helped by the city taking in more revenue, even though the millage rate stayed the same. So your taxes didn't increase. The millage rate, the rate at which you're being taxed, stayed exactly the same. But because your home values are more, it looks like you are paying more taxes, but it's not because your tax rate went up. It's because the value of your home went up. And so the contribution from the value of your home went up as well. It's not a tax increase, but a lot of you say, well, I'm paying more money. To me, it feels like one. It's not, but I understand where your argument comes from. I really, really do. And it's something that the county addressed. The county's in the middle of addressing with their budget. The city addressed it. It's, you forget when prices went down, they didn't raise the millage rate to try to recoup that revenue. They kept the millage rates the same even when the market bottomed out. They didn't go crazy and double the millage rate or anything to try to keep revenue the same. They tightened their belts. The municipalities and the county commission here in our area tightened their belts, did a little trimming here and there, and weathered the storm without a big tax burden being given to the people in our area. Now, the storm has since lifted. Property values have rebounded to heights that have never been seen in Marion County. And so now the coffers are being refilled. Remember, if the coffers hadn't had enough money in the general fund and stuff like that, it'd have been a whole different situation when we had the economic downturn. So look at it as being prepared for the next time there's an economic downturn. And by the way, that could be on the horizon with the administration we have in the White House. There's no guarantee. We'll take a break. We'll be back after this short time out. You're listening to 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, WOCA, The Source.